Maryland blue crabs, its peaches the Ravens the Orioles and its proximity to the nation's capital. The old line state seems like a fantastic place to live in overall, but there's some places you definitely don't want to call home here. Fruitland located on the Delmarva Peninsula in the eastern part of the state, here quite a bit close to exits near the Delaware border. Just outside of Salisbury, it's a 20-minute drive from the shore of the Chesapeake Bay. Seems like a peaceful place if you like small town living, but there are some pitfalls here and people living here has the worst unemployment rate in the state at about 13%. That's results is about 17% of residents living below the poverty line. The schools here are mediocre. The cost of living is high in spite being a small town. Property crime is more than double the national average. People living in Fruitland have a 1 out of 23 chance of having their stuff stolen and even take your wallet away. There's just really not a lot to do here. Community has its share of problems, including lack of jobs, high crime, struggling schools and vista challenging cost of living. Jobs in the region are relatively well paying with a median income of about $56,000. But these jobs are hard to find and it doesn't help that 22% of adults living here never finished high school. You think they're going to get a decent job? The unemployment rate 7%, and rent cost about $1,200 a month to rent an apartment here. Schools are lousy, score 4 out of 10. Robberies are higher now than ever. Number 8. The Mount Rainier is a city in Prince George's County, Maryland. The population was 8,333 at the 2020 census. The rate of crime in Mount Rainier is 33.62 per 1,000 residents during a standard year. It has playgrounds and parks, and they have a lively arts district. That's cool, and if you're a vegetarian, you're lucky to have this organic food co-op centered around vegetarian food. Mount Rainier crime rates are 51% higher than the national average. Violent crimes in Mount Rainier are 5% higher than the national average. Population, 8,149. 2020. Mount Rainier Elementary ranks worse than 77.2% of elementary schools in Maryland. In Mount Rainier, MD, you have a 1 in 247 chance of becoming a victim of violent crime. Violent crimes include murder, rape, robbery and assault. The total driving distance from Mount Rainier, MD to Washington, D.C. is 8 miles. Number 7. Cumberland located on the Potomac. Cumberland seems like a beautiful place to live, if you're on the outside looking in, but I'm sure many of the 20,000 people living here would disagree with me. People living here earned a combined $36,000 a year. 1 out of 22 chance of being robbed here and a 1 out of 130 chance of being attacked or raped. It has been struggling with opioid overdoses in Cumberland. People say there's no opportunities here. There's nothing to do in the winter months. It has highest divorce rate in the state. Perks of living here, it's beautiful in the summer and they have these bike paths to go all the way to DC. Cumberland area homes are the cheapest in the whole state at $94,000, and that's always for a reason. People might think a low home prices is great. It just shows there's not a lot of demand to live way out in Cumberland. And population was 19,495 in 2020. The Cumberland MD crime rate for 2018 was 746.61 per 100,000 population, a 1.24% decline from 2017. The Cumberland MD crime rate for 2017 was 755.97 per 100,000 population, a 14.6% decline from 2016. The Cumberland MD crime rate for 2016 was 885.22 per 100,000 population, a 23.53% increase from 2015. The unemployment rate for Cumberland, Maryland was 4.7% in July 2022. Number 6. Hagerstown. It's an hour plus from Baltimore. Over in Washington County, there's 40,000 people there. Used to be nicknamed Hub City because of the railroads and roads and paths through, but today it's really a shell of itself. One of the highest unemployment rate city in Maryland, along with some of the lowest home prices and household incomes. People living here earned about $42,000 a year, and that doesn't go very far in this part of the country. The average homes is about $116,000, which is super low, and more 1 of 10 people's on food stamps. Crimes is about 17% above the national average. Drugs are a growing problem in Hagerstown. People say those needles and trash there in the sidewalks and drunk people in the inner city and high people around every corner of Hagerstown. There's a plan to revitalize downtown, but residents say it's been a decade and not much has happened. Come on, Hagerstown leadership, and give the people what they deserve. Average salary in Hagerstown is $22,000 a year, which goes nowhere. Cost of living super high here, which means like 16 out of 100 people are on welfare, and the public schools here are sadly also terrible. Meanwhile, the town's crime rate's more than 50% above the national average and have the second highest murder rate in the state. Hagerstown population was 40,027 in 2020. Hagerstown, MD unemployment rate is at 5.30%, compared to 8.10% last year. This is lower than the long-term average of 6.90%. Number 5. Ocean City is vacationland. Fisher crazy here. Ocean City is a resort town between the Atlantic Ocean and Isle of Wight Bay. The population was 6,957 in 2020. It features miles of beach, wooden boardwalk lined with lots of restaurants, shops and hotels. Your chance of being a victim of violent crime in Ocean City is 1 in 86 and property crime is 1 in 12. With a crime rate of 97 per 1,000 residents, Ocean City has one of the highest crime rate in America compared to all communities of all sizes. Seriously, safety is a huge concern to residents here. It has the most property crimes in the state and the second highest violent crime rates, of course. We're measuring crimes happening to both residents and tourists, but would you want to live in a place where people getting robbed and beaten up? You can't enjoy the beach for 6 months in a year, when summer ends and it's like a ghost town in Ocean City. There's no jobs, but there are perks to living in Ocean City. The schools are actually pretty highly rated. They say it's a tight-knit community, and course there's going to be a ton of stuff to do in the beach. Population, 6,957, 2020, and as of August 22, the average annual salary in Ocean City is $38,629. Number 4. Salisbury is the fourth worst place to live in Maryland. Salisbury has the same problems as many other places on this list really had: bad economy and high crime. 1 in 10 people doesn't work here, which is the 7th highest rating in Maryland. People in Salisbury only earned about $20,000 a year, which is why 1 in 4 people receive food stamps. Salisbury violent crime is 47.6. Salisbury had a violent crime 6 out of 7 days of the week. The city also have the 4th highest rate of rape cases. There's not much to do here in the winter months. If you didn't grow up in Salisbury, you're not really welcome here. There's a glimmer of hope: the schools are actually decent. Salisbury has the lowest student-teacher ratio in state, which means a lot of one-on-one time for the kids. So maybe there's hope for the future, or maybe the kids will just realize there's life outside of Salisbury and they'll leave. Salisbury population was 32,850 in 2020. Unemployment rate in Salisbury, Maryland in July 2022, 4.2%. Number 3. Cambridge is number 3 on our list. There's 12,000 people live here in Cambridge. Has a rich history and even a museum dedicated to Harriet Tubman, but its history is the only rich thing about Cambridge. 1 out of 110 people here can't work or won't work. That's the 4th highest rated Maryland. The average man or woman here of working age makes about $21,000 a year, which means 1 in 5 people here has to collect welfare. Cambridge have the highest number of rape cases in the state average. Murders here in overall. They have the 3rd highest violent crime rate in the whole state of Maryland. People live here have a 1 out of 19 chance of being robbed. Cambridge residents complain that there's nothing much to do here. You have to leave town to get decent food, to go shopping, but Chick-fil-A just opened up here, so maybe things are heading the right direction in 2022. With a crime rate of 53 per 1,000 residents, Cambridge has one of the highest crime rates in America compared to all communities of all sizes. Unemployment rate is 6.3% in August 2022. Number 2. Elkton. We're going to remain on the eastern shore again. Elkton is way up here along Route 40, right on the Delaware state line. This town is also known as the elopement capital of the East Coast. The only bad decisions being made in Elkton is, Elkton has the highest crime rate in the state of Maryland. The Elkton City in Maryland crime rate for 2018 was 1,269.05 per 100,000 population, a 8.93% increase from 2017. The Elkton MD crime rate for 2017 was 1,165 per 100,000 population, a 16.04% increase from 2016. Education is also an issue in Elkton, Maryland. It has the 8th highest high school dropout rate of all Maryland cities. Do you have kids and can't afford private school? Don't live in Elkton. Dozens of overdoses each year. People living here said they can walk to the park, go get ice cream. Addiction problems have led to even more homeless people here. To review life here, at least you can dance your cares away at the Scottish Games each time. Elkton population was 15,653 in 2020. Elkton is 1 in 116 in property crime, The crime rate for 2018 was 1,269.05 per 100,000 population. Number 1. Baltimore. Baltimore give you the worst place to live in Maryland. Worst places you can live in the country. Baltimore crime rate for 2018 was 1,833.39 per 100,000 population. Got a place called home. The city's plagued by crime, drugs and corruption. Clearly Baltimore has the highest violent crime rate in the history and highest murder rate. The city had 348 murders last year. Murder cases every single day. Baltimore had 25,000 property crimes last year and 10 cars get stolen each day in Baltimore. Baltimore, tons of people here don't work. Tons of people here have low-paying jobs, taxes are high, and home values of the 5th worst in the state. And I'm sure you've heard about the drug use here. Heroin's easier to find and addicted to drugs everywhere. There was trash everywhere on the street. Abandoned buildings are nearly every block. I hope the community can seek a better life for themselves. I like the cool area by the harbor where people go and have dinner. Downtown looks ominously uninspiring. It's really sad cause this was once one of the largest and finest cities in all of America. Baltimore population was 602,274 in 2020 and its third most violent cities in America 2022. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and don't forget to like and comment. Thanks.
Preview.